car. This little doodad, this little thingy, this thing, this, what is it? This thingy, this tool. Let's get back to garden basics. Let's go over some simple weeding tips for the beginner gardener. My first tip is always weed after it rains. It is going to be so much easier to pull the plant out by the root after it rains versus when the ground is really dry and hard and cakey. And if you're impatient and you don't want to wait for some rain, go ahead and take a garden hose and soak the section down that you want to weed very well. Wait about 10 to 15 minutes, then go back in and start your weeding. 2 non-negotiables that I always use when I'm weeding is a good pair of garden gloves that are comfortable for me to wear, and that is a fabric and leather pair, and a hoary knife. This tool is a jack of all trades, and that's why I like it. It has a couple of different purposes. You can use the tip to really get in and to dig a hole, which you'll see me do when I plant some perennials. You can use the serrated edge to cut a plant in half if you want to, and I'll also demonstrate that when I'm planting a perennial. And it's just good to really get in and scoop underneath the root of a weed like a dandelion to pop it out to make sure I'm getting the whole root system so that dandelion does not come back. I have a little bit of penstemon right here. Might as well just dot them in around here. Might as well just get them in the ground. A really good budget buster tip is to plant from seed. And this penstemon is a plant that has profusely seeded itself all over my property. I dig it up wherever I don't want it. I put it in a container, and then later on in the season or even the next year, I will take that plant and plop it into the ground. So here I am going to actually cut the plant in half because I have a couple of seedlings that grew together underneath in the root section. So I just wanted to separate them out and plant these 2 little babies out in the landscape so they can get nice and full and big. Now, if I don't want these plants to reseed and go everywhere, all I have to do is, after they're done blooming, cut the bloom stalk off, and that will eliminate any of the seeds from going around. But if I want more plants, I will let this go to seed, and I will follow the same process I have done in the past, dig them up, throw them in a container, and wait and plant them whenever I am ready. If you know me, you know that my most favorite gardening task in the world is to limb up trees and shrubs. This is a shrub that I've been growing on for a couple years, and it just always looks scrubby. It doesn't have a good form to it. So I thought it was definitely time to limb it up and move it from a shrub shape into a small multi-trunk tree shape. So these are the steps that I take when I am going to turn anything from a shrub into a tree, or if I'm limbing up a tree in general. First thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you're working from the bottom up. So I'm going to go ahead and start working slowly around the plant, removing any of the lower limbs. Also, while I'm in there, if I see any crossing branches that are very obvious up in the tree canopy or the shrub canopy, I'll cut them off as well, because you don't want your branches rubbing against each other and causing, wounds and damage to the bark. I'm also going to take my time and step back a lot and take a good look at this plant from all different angles to make sure that I'm not cutting off too much and I'm making the correct cuts. I always like to remove the bottom third of the plant initially and leave 2/3 of the plant foliage at the top of the shrub to help it photosynthesize, grow, and to fill out. I can always take off more later, but my initial cuts are going to be on the side of restraint not going in full force and cutting and hacking away willy-nilly. And then my final step is to go in and just tip the branches that are wonky and sticking out too high and looking all weird to make it look a little more intentional, instead of this lady is trying to turn a shrub into a tree. And why are all these branches all wackadoodles? And I did not get a video clip of this, but I did go back and do some slow release fertilizer onto this shrub to encourage new growth. Shout out time. I want to give a huge shout out and a big thank you to my viewer Sierra. She has been with me almost from the beginning of when I launched this channel. She is always leaving wonderful comments down below. And Sierra, I just want to let you know I appreciate you following along on my gardening journey. And here is the area all finished with a nice layer of mulch. Look at how nice and tidy this whole section of the garden looks now that we got it weeded. We got a couple of plants put in the ground and we got this tree limbed up.